Blade, the vampiric daywalker, is finally here. And if you're wondering what he has been up to, we can read his first character story, which recaps every instance of where he's been in Marvel Rivals. And it explains more details about why he has joined the fight. So let's get into this story. Eric Brooks finally opens his eyes for a moment, and the nightmares have finally ended. But he's not sure where he is. In front of him, he sees Reed Richards. "Dracula's gone, Blade. You're free now," he hears. But he knew he would never be free from the curse he has, being a daywalking vampire. But if Reed is right, then at least Blade could rest knowing Dracula is gone. "'Bout darn time," Blade whispers as he finally falls asleep again, starting to dream and relive his recent history. It all began when he heard rumor of Dracula planning to take New York and make it his eternal night. Blade went on a secret mission to search for a mysterious ally that was helping Dracula, but it wasn't long before Blade became Dracula's most wanted hero. After vanquishing hundreds of vampires, Blade was confronted by Dracula, and even though Blade had Spider-Man and the Human Torch on his side, he was no match for the real Vampire King. Knocked out and kidnapped by Dracula, he was held prisoner in Dracula's castle in Central Park. Blade was subjugated to experiments of dark magic, and he was relentlessly drained of blood for Dracula to prolong the eternal night. The process left Blade gravely wounded, fading in and out of consciousness. So when he was finally rescued, he was uncertain if it was really happening. He figured he lost his mind when he started talking to a giant squirrel that could speak. But when he felt the thing's rocky shoulders carrying him painfully away, he knew he was safe. He knew he would need to regain strength, because if years of combat against vampires has taught him anything, it's that villains can die, but evil never does. After being brought back to the Baxter Building, the Fantastic Four quickly realized the damage done to Blade was too much for them to heal, so they transported him via Reed's interdimensional bridge to King T'Challa in the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. There, Shuri would work on healing Blade as the other heroes fought against Ultron and his invasion. While the heroes were fighting Ultron, Shuri tried an unorthodox treatment. She had heard that T'Challa had been given a heart-shaped herb to heal T'Challa's vampirism, and she wondered if it could remove Blade's as well. The herb was usually reserved for the Black Panther, but desperate times call for desperate measures. As soon as Eric's lips touched the serum, Blade began to have visions far stranger than giant squirrels. Suddenly, he was in a spirit realm, and he could feel a strong gust of wind blow past him, blowing leaves into the sky, where they formed a woman swirling with red and black energy, a spiral adorning her forehead. But a moment later, she morphed into the likeness of Bast, Wakanda's panther goddess. Eric knelt and offered thanks to Bast, but the panther goddess didn't respond kindly. Instead, it lunged at Blade. Deep inside, Blade knew that this wasn't right. She was trying to kill his vampiric side, and as much as he wanted to be free from his hunger, he knew he still needed his powers to protect the world from evil. If he had to fight off the panther goddess to keep his vampiric side, he would. He reached for his sword, but material possessions were not allowed on the spiritual plane. Caught off guard, Bast attacked, delivering a devastating blow. Blade howled in pain, landing on his hands and knees. The blood poured from his wounds into the soil of the ancestral place. For a moment, he was unsure if he could win this battle, but in the pool of blood, he saw a reflection of his mother's face. Did the blood mix with the soil to summon her soul? Eric couldn't know, but it reminded him of why he had to keep fighting, for her. The reflection held something out to him. Eric reached into the pool of ichor and drew back a gleaming silver sword. Legend says that Dracula's sword was an extension of the cursed darkness in the Vampire King. If that were true, maybe this new weapon was a manifestation of the light in Eric's soul, a parting gift from his mother. As Blade rose to his feet, he raised his sword. "Almost had me there, kitty. But you ain't the only one with fangs." Lunging into the air, Blade struck the phantom beast with his new sword, causing the panther's form to shatter into a million leaves once again. He watched as the purple leaves withered to black and died at his feet. He knew that the treatment had failed. The heart-shaped herb wouldn't cure him, but thankfully, he would remain a daywalker. Or, at least when he finally gains the strength to walk again, he will. Until then, Shuri would need to devote more time and resources into healing Blade, and she wouldn't have long until she would need to wake up her sleeping champion. There was a new enemy on the horizon, a darkness creeping its way across the galaxy looking to snuff out every star. As Shuri watched Eric peacefully slumber, she placed a long, tightly sealed package next to him. Reed Richards had delivered it. At the time, he said it was a trophy, and that Blade would know what to do with it. Little did Shuri realize that remaining in the box was Dracula's sword, awaiting its new master. After all the lives that the cursed sword had taken over the centuries Dracula had it, Reed believed it was time for it to finally do some good, and there were few hands he trusted more than Eric's. Shuri stepped away, closing the door behind her while she formulated a new plan. If she had stayed a moment longer, she might have seen a second sword with a shining silver blade start to materialize beside Blade. Though Eric was still in a deep slumber, his mouth curled into a faint smile, showing just a glint of his fangs. This story gives us a lot of information while also recapping where Blade has been in Marvel Rivals. It tells us some of Blade's backstory, about his mother being a key motivator for him. It connects him to Reed Richards profoundly. I wonder if they are friends in various comics. It explains the rivalry between Blade and Dracula, and also the lore behind the swords Blade now wields, one being Dracula's, and the other manifesting in his heart-shaped herb spiritual retreat. Also, notice how there is a woman of red and black with a spiral on her head who turned into Bast? That's a clear indication or a reminder that Null/Hela had corrupted Wakanda and were imitating or controlling Bast in some way, which is very, very cool that it ties it together still. Overall, I think this is a very good story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Hey everyone. I played Blade for the first time to get footage for this video, and I was pretty bad. And this is a conversation that happened after my first game playing Blade. Now, I had done a little bit of practice, learned his abilities, but I just went into it not understanding how to play the character, and some people were telling me that I shouldn't have been in Quickplay playing a new character. And some of them were getting pretty upset, saying, "Go ruin someone else's day." I don't know. I don't completely agree with their idea of Quickplay can't be used to learn a new character. And while I didn't make the best arguments and the best responses, I was a bit upset at the time, I wanted to ask you guys, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that Quickplay should be played with characters you know and that characters you're comfortable with so that you don't let your teammates down? Because I understand that argument, people want to win, but I think that Quickplay can be used as a training ground, just a place to learn a new character against other people that are taking the game semi-seriously. What are your thoughts on that? I just wanted to ask at the tail end of the video for anybody who is still watching. And again, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.